prayer, but he touched me. And I don't know exactly what happened, but God does. And that might be one reason why I'm standing here. My story begins at 2 months old. And at 2 months old, I was put in CPS care because my mother and father were addicted to drugs and alcohol. At the orphanages, we would have to line our chairs up, hoping a family could pick us. By 70, I went through many foster homes and orphanages, but by 7 years old, I was adopted and brought to Houston. My behavior progressed. By the age of 17 years old, I caught my first felony. That's where my drug and alcohol addiction began. From 1999 to 2016, I was in and out of prison. When I went to prison, I joined a prison gang called Houston. With this gang and this atmosphere of being in prison, I had to learn how to fight. We had to jump people. We had to take people's stuff. We had to riot. We had to do everything. That's the atmosphere I grew up in. But in 2015, everything changed. Amen. There's a program called Kairos. In this program, the second day, I finally found what I was looking for.
Come on, God. Come on, God.
Wow. In 6 months, I was walking with the Lord and I was still with the gang. Well, God touched my heart as a volunteer when I went back to the same program. And I went on the rec yard 2 days later and confessed Jesus Christ to every gang member in that circle.
Come on now.
Hallelujah. That day, it wasn't them beating me up or taking me out. But this was the only family I've ever known. I did everything with. And I had to walk away from that and trust God.
Amen, brother.
11 days later, I made parole. I wish this was a story I could say that was happy ever after and I just went on evangelizing for Jesus, but it's not. I came home to a house that my sister was not a follower of Christ. We had our differences. I had no church. I had no guidance. I had no spiritual leaders. I relapsed. It was the worst decision of my life. During that relapse, November 2017, I was pulled over with drugs and guns in the car. That day was the worst day of my life, but it changed my life forever.
My God.
I was in jail. I had no bond. There was no way out. The lawyer was saying 25 to life. I was in that jail cell, and I said, God, you're the only way. If you can get me out of this, I promise I will follow you till the end.
Come on, God.
February 2018, after telling the lawyer, I just want a bond, and the lawyer was like, you're looking at 25 to life. Don't you understand? These people are trying to hide you. It's over. She came back and said they're giving you a $70,000 bond. I made bond within 2 weeks. When I got released, it was 5 a.m. I was in a hotel room. I had nowhere to go. I had no direction. But I knew I had to make a change. And so I called Bobby Hare and Trey 9 with a ministry. I called PD. I called every Christian I known saying, hey, I want to change. And from that day forward, I was told to go to house church the next day. And with that house church, they provided transportation, housing, goals coaches, mentors, spiritual leaders. My sister had me take a outpatient rehab program. And I had to do that in AA classes. And I got my job back within 2 weeks.
Come on, God.
As a bricklayer helper. But the finances and the bond and getting a lawyer were piling up. And my mentor said, trust God.
That's right.
There's a program called Work Faith Connections. It's a spiritual program that can help you get a better job, get a career. And I said, nah. I know how to fill out an application. I know how to fill out a resume. He said, no, trust God.
Amen.
Because you're going to get something out of this. And I graduated that program. God, I didn't realize, but there's something spiritual. He was building up my self-confidence, but he was allowing all these people to work in my life.
Come on, God.
And within 2 weeks, I was hired as a missionary associate. working for a community center.
Hallelujah. Won't he do it?
Won't he do it?
Won't he do it?
During this whole process,
Hallelujah.
I'm facing 25 to life in one courtroom, 25 to life in another courtroom.
Jesus.
In one courtroom, I just signed for 6 years probation. And in this courtroom that I'm going to court on April 8th, I know Jesus is going to see me through whatever happens.
Amen.
Amen. That takes a lot. That takes a lot to trust God and say, you know what, if you send me back, I'm still going to be on fire for you because there's somebody that needs to hear you. They got colleges. They got programs. They got a lot of study time. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of time we don't have out here that I can take advantage. So either way, Jesus, I know you're going to carry me through.
Come on, God.
Amen. And during this whole process, the lawyer was talking to me. And let me tell you something. Any person that comes in contact with you, I don't care if they're Christian, I don't care whatever they are. God can use anybody. And this lawyer said, what image do you want the courts to portray you? And I said, well, I got the tattoos and, I need to go minister. And he said, but they don't look at you like that.
Yeah.
And as I was going to Walmart and I was on Facebook and social media, I was attracting a certain group of people. But I wasn't taken serious. So he said, hey, man, and he said, you want to laser the tattoos off your body? That means they burn your skin at a high voltage rate. And every time you go back, they upper the voltage. And so I said, all right, Monday I'll be going for my 5th treatment.
Come on, Jesus.
Off my eyes, my mouth, side of my neck, and my hands.
Amen.
You don't think that's possible. Because the only thing that gets me through these laser treatments is prayer. Because I'm so, the feeling is overwhelming. And I just say, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Because then that puts remembrance of what he did on that cross. And this is nothing. Amen.
Amen.
And through this whole process, I'm fighting this case. And I decided I wanted to start a career in recovery. And so I started working at Unlimited Visions Aftercare in Pasadena. It's a youth treatment center for kids who are in treatment, their last chance before going to TYC. And I started as a care technician. And I took this 46-hour program called Peer Recovery Coach. That's where I walked with them. And I took their program, and within 2 months after being a care tech, they hired me on as a peer recovery coach. For the past 7 months, I've been working with the same company.
Come on.
And yesterday, the same state of Texas that's trying to send me to prison just had to certify me as a peer.
Hallelujah!
Amen.
Yes, God.
Hallelujah!
Hallelujah.
It's amazing.
Amen.
It's amazing. And let me tell you something. The most important part is my little girl that I've been out of her life for 15 years. That you would think after all these years, this little girl
My God.
doesn't see none of what they see.
That's right. That's right.
And ever since this last 10 months, she stays 2 hours away in Victoria. But I make sure every month I send her money and I build a relationship with her.
Come on.
And this past weekend, I spent 8 hours going back and forth, bringing her to Houston, introducing her to a family that she's never even met. All what I told you is putting God first. It's just one step at a time. When I met Rudy, it was just one step at a time. But guess what? I had to submit to him. I had to submit to every leader, every spiritual guidance. I had to submit to everybody. Because God put these people in your life. Because in order to get where he is, I have to submit.
Yes.
And that's the hardest thing to have to do. But I'm a student and I'm a child of God. Amen. Thank y'all. Love y'all, man. Thank y'all so much.
Hallelujah!